Hey guys, and welcome to Sounds Like NYC episode 62. Our next guest is visual artist whose main medium is painting. You can find him on Instagram at Chemin Hsiao Art. That's CheminHsiao Art. Please welcome Chemin Hsiao.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Chemin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I mean, especially with everything that's been going on right now, it's surprising to see how many artists have actually wanted to come in. So
I mean, I just think people are like kind of tired of like staying inside all the time. So it's finally time, to get out, but like slowly. Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been dealing with it?
Oh, it's very awkward. Yeah, I guess nobody has stayed home for so long and to deal with grocery shopping all together, and your studio space is locked and you couldn't really use it for several months. So it's quite crazy.
Oh man, so like, were you like on? So you have like a separate studio space where you do?
Yes. Yeah. So this is my 10th, 11th year in New York.
Okay,
I come from Taiwan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's quite challenging to have your home as your studio. So after like last year, I started having this studio space called Chashama Studio Space.
Oh, okay.
So it's in Sunset Park in Brooklyn.
Oh,
that's
okay,
nice.
cool.
Yeah. So it's enjoy it. Yes. So finally, you are able to create something larger or more sophisticated. Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Yep.
So like, why do you think it's kind of hard for you to have have your house also be your studio space?
Obviously, as a painter, or if you're a mixed media artist, installation artist, you couldn't really mess up your home, right? It's like if you have a separate space and you are able to manipulate as much as you wanted. Yeah, so I guess that's the main issue. Obviously, when you're in your home, it's much less space.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably easier to sort of concentrate too when you have a space dedicated to just your art.
Yeah,
right.
Indeed.
Yeah. Good. So what's going on with the space right now? Are you still able to use it or no?
You mean yes? They after the reopening after July, I think they slowly reopen bit by bit, and right now it's in full swing.
Awesome.
Yep.
So like with that studio space, is it just for you, or do you have like other artists?
Yeah,
also
it's
come?
a collaborative space that you have in the Sunset Park Brooklyn Army Terminal.
Okay, yeah.
So we have two buildings, Building A and Building B. Each building have, like for instance, I'm in Building B. There are like in one floor we have like 100 artists. Yeah, it's a huge working space. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So do you often like go and network with those artists, just to, like share ideas, get inspired, stuff like that?
Mostly, I think everybody's pretty individual. You just go in and you work on your own stuff. And obviously you run into people and you have some good neighbors and you can share what you did so far. But mostly we are pretty ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you think that sort of personality is like sort of unique to painters? Because I mean, as musicians, I feel like it's just second nature for us to just meet everybody.
Yes.
But that's because music is such a collaborative effort.
Course.
But do you feel like because you're a painter, most people have that sort of mindset just to stay in your own sort of space and do your own thing?
True. I think it's really up to depend on your personality and also your practice. Indeed, for painting, a lot of it's just individual. You stay within yourself and try to create something. But I could still see a lot of people communicating with each other. But I think it's a nature for artists that we stick to ourselves and try to bring something on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like agree with you, because I couldn't imagine like a space like that, even if like all the rooms or like all the spaces were like soundproof, or just having like 50 to 100 musicians all on like a certain space. Like I couldn't imagine that I don't know, it just seems way too hectic, and just like it seems that space would be like, pretty small, after like having that many people. But it's really cool.
Yeah,
exactly. Right?
Imagine, especially for sound, it's so different.
Yeah,
it travels everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
For painting, you block it off by your earphone, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what drew you to visual art?
What is it?
What drew you to visual art?
I always feel like when I'm growing up, I think my mom is pretty encouraging me creatively, just try to send me out to learn art class, even though it's just for children.
Right.
Still, you have interest while growing up, and Taiwan is a pretty academic country. we gear towards studying much more than training for art or music in the early age. So it's just nature that I feel like I didn't do too good on academic, and I feel like I can strive on the art part.
Okay, that's like really interesting because you do also teach art, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So like, who was the person for you, or like, was there a person that kind of like came to you like as a child and kind of like inspired you to like start art, or was it just like naturally just through those classes like at school?
Yeah, during my junior high school or high school, the art teacher is always very encouraging, and I think they recognize people who can stay with themselves.
Yeah.
And just like a little child, you leave a toy with them, and you find out he's keep playing it while the others doesn't.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good sign that as a teacher myself now, I kind of can see the same thing. It's like once you see the same characteristic, you bring that up.
Yeah. So like, what are some of the challenges of kind of like, how would you say? Yeah. So like, what are the challenges of kind of like teaching kids art? Like, say that you find you find a kid that kind of has like an interest. Like what is the best way you think to kind of like steer that kid and kind of like mentor that kid to like help their skills grow?
Yes, I think with the kids, I'm very cautious of treating them kind. It's like positive energy. It's like no matter, you will see a lot of kids when they grow up, they're accustomed to deny themselves. Like, I don't like this. Oh, I did so wrong. This is not good. But I think that the most interesting thing is that you wanted to insert everything you do is priceless, and it's valuable. And once they get that idea, they might deny it like 3 times or 5 times, but after you told them 10 times that you are fine, and you could see they gradually just more ease into the creative process, and you appreciate that.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
How did you get sort of into watercolor?
Watercolor. When I came to New York, actually, I went to study in School of Visual Arts, and in the beginning, actually, I came for computer animation.
Oh,
yeah, so it's all
really?
it's a time that when Pixar Studios start blossoming, and then because as I said before, I didn't come for academic training.
Right.
So if I studied in Taiwan, it's so hard for me to really get on track, like to follow all the art professionals in Taiwan. So I decided to came to New York to study in the School of Visual Art using the access by computer animation.
Oh, okay.
Because I know I studied a little bit that in Taiwan. I got application. Luckily I went in.
Right.
However, when I finally visited the School of Visual Art, and I just felt like I go into more. I still wanted to learn how to painting and drawing, and eventually I didn't really focusing on my computer art classes, but I studied under a fabulous teacher. Her name is Deborah Rose, and what her class is about. She's still under the animation department. However, what she did is basically take you to Bronx Zoo, take you to Central Park Zoo, and you just sit there and you paint with the animals, and that really gives me a beautiful and peaceful time.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about kind of like the whole? Because basically, like CGI has kind of like taken over, at least like Western animation. Like, what do you think about that? Like personally, like what are your opinions, if you do have any, like on the current state of like CGI animation and art?
I think technology could really create something. I think what Steve Jobs do and John Lasseter, the director of Pixar, what they did is fabulous. They are able to make kids believe that CGI is beautiful too. I don't doubt that it could continue to challenge the form and be very beautiful. Yeah. So I think both has its advantage. I just like traditional.
Yeah.
The fluidity of it better.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen kind of like CGI kind of like imitate watercolor, like
Yeah.
like animation? Oh, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there are a lot of it because what you can do is After Effects. No, yeah, you can definitely imitate that fluidity of the watercolor.
Yeah.
But it's still you need to match a certain texture to make it happen. But yes, I believe so. There's a lot of people experimenting on it.
Do you think technology takes away from art or just adds on to it?
I think it's a collaborative route. It's like both could contribute to each other. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think right now might be a cool time to just plug in some of your art pieces. So,
Do you have any like favorite art pieces that you want to show?
Yes, I think several ones. Recently, I did several murals. I think in 2018 to 20, I did several major mural pieces. So one that's been done in June, it's called Reborn. It's a turtle.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Thank
yeah,
you, thank
like,
you.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so that part, that's a series of painting that I started doing after the pandemic. So that one is pretty recognizable, that everything is deal with an idea about what we are under right now, about the mask.
yeah, look at this one right here, Lifeboat.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at the image, you kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
It's like what we are under, and some people wear masks, some people don't. What's the the right for each other?
Yeah.
What are we holding on to, Sam?
Yeah, that one is very, very tough.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's so beautiful. Like watercolor is such like a fascinating
Thank you.
like medium, and you definitely like mastered it.
I think another one that a lot of my American friends could relate to is I think there's one called Petri Dish. It's a Super Mario. You can see.
Oh yeah. Go back up. Yeah. Yeah,
This
right
one?
over here. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking about what's going on in Las Vegas during the time.
Wait, what was going on in Las
Yeah,
Vegas?
I think the time that the mayor in Las Vegas say something with the CNN reporter.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking, that's what they
I
put
think
in.
this one's my favorite.
Yeah,
The one
let's
with
talk.
the King Kai.
Yeah,
Which one?
King Kai.
King Kite is the
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
Yeah.
King
yeah.
Kite, yes.
Yeah, like I wanted. I guess we could take a break now,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
after, I kind of want to talk about like a couple of your paintings
No
for
problem.
sure, like those.
No problem.
Yeah, awesome. All right, hey guys, welcome back to Sounds Like NYC. And before the break, we were just talking about some of your art examples, and we were talking a bit about kind of like your art examples, including kind of like Dragon Ball Z and like Mario and stuff like that. But before we get to that, let's just talk about the significance of the turtle painting that you told us about. Like, what was your headspace? Like, what were you thinking as you were making this painting?
Yes, actually, the idea came from that every day that since we lock at home, a lot of people buy grocery and try to cook for themselves. And it just also occurred to me that day, I think after I cook an onion or cabbage, I think it's a cabbage, and I naturally, right now you don't have too much to do, and you stay with yourself and you just put it into the water and you let it grow. And I think that what's on the turtle back is a cabbage. So I was thinking that
Gotcha.
it's the same meaning as us. It's like you were laid bare during the time, and you try to grow something out of nothing, and that's the idea. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So every single day I think after March, everything stops. It's like you don't have to travel, you don't have to transit and all that.
Completely different.
So every day you woke up and you just keep a cup of coffee and you sit there and start thinking something what you can make sense to the world.
Yeah. Ah, interesting. Yeah, because when like everything started, I mean, I just like took it like as a break because I had just graduated from college. So
I see.
I was just trying to take a break, but as time went on, you know, things just started to get boring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wish I had more of like a insightful kind of like type of thinking like the way you did, because like
congrats, you just finished your 4 years or college. It's already a heavy achievement.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you feel like this whole COVID thing has been helpful or hurtful for artists?
I think if you ask, I would say commercially definitely hurtful, but in terms of the mindfulness, like how you can dive into your consciousness, I would say yes, it's helpful, but it depends on how you see it.
Like what's been your favorite piece so far that you've made because of the whole pandemic?
I think that's the New Phase series. That's the one that deal. If you look back to what I did before, it's I would sit in the garden or in the zoo, just paint animals or paint plants. It's just preaching the idea of at the moment, you stay at the present. However, I think the newest piece is like challenge myself. You have to come up with something visually challenging.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just a different transition. So that series obviously is by far my favorite so far.
So like talking, I kind of like mentioned this like a bit before, but like kind of how like, you know, famous anime have popped up in your artwork. Like, was there like ever a point where you wanted to kind of like go with a more kind of like anime inspired kind of like, you know, art style, kind of like, because you know, these days that kind of like art style is very popular, but was there ever like a moment where you thought of like doing something like that, or were you always kind of like trying to do something more unique? Or
I see. I think in terms of the influence, the style by the anime, I think every kid that growing in Taiwan has that inspiration. It's like we try to, that's what we see growing up. And I was very, very surprised that a lot of my American friends like you guys, they love Dragon Ball and even more than me.
Grew up with it.
Yeah, so I was just, I think in terms of style-wise, I think it's more like content. It's like I drew what I drew, and that's how people perceive my painting. So I just wanted to adopt that, like the Kinkai you mentioned. Obviously, that Kinkai is very different from the Kinkai that the comic artists do. But I think once people see the same association, they could be related. So I don't really strive to create that kind of manga style or anime style, but I appreciate it. That's how I grew up with.
Yeah. Or speaking of which, are there like any like anime or cartoons or like anything that you're watching that like has personally inspired you or like inspired your art?
Obviously, I think everybody thinking about anime, everybody will always talk about Studio Ghibli.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's just how magnificent and how splendid that the mind of the Miss Hayao Miyazaki could provide.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I was always in awe. It's like looking at, I read every book of his and try to, but he's a very, very stubborn old grandpa.
But yeah, I see like a common theme with you is plants, animals, and children.
Yeah.
Why those three?
I think it's innocence. Like you sit with them and you feel like they don't worry too much. I think that's the main. If you look through all my portfolio, you will notice that it's the calmness. I didn't try to provoke violence. I think I'm more into what you can stay with and feel calm, because I don't think that's what other things we don't need.
Yeah. And I guess that sort of like works well with the medium that you pick with watercolor. It sort of evokes that same sort of calmness.
Yeah.
It's a very soft.
Yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So yes, a lot of time when people look at my name, they see Chemin Hsiao, and they will write to me as, oh, how is she, and your work, and she would, they would assume that I'm a lady.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. When I see the style of mine and see the subject matter, I do.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume I'm a lady. So.
I mean, have you ever tried to? I don't think from what we've seen so far, but like, have you ever tried to kind of like break out your comfort zone in the way of trying to create something more aggressive, or like,
yes.
is that just not in your?
No,
like,
actually,
nature?
I would try. If you look at another series of mine, the Journey to the West. If you look at the
So you actually did make.
the
cool.
public mural. So it would more detailedly. If you look at the very first one, you see a big New York Liberty
Yeah, Statue
Yeah.
of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
one.
Oh, public mural right here.
Yeah,
Oh,
public
gotcha.
mural. Yeah.
We're looking. Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
So that is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's as far as more like combat.
Oh, yeah.
But it's about personal history and artistic growth.
Yeah, can you?
Right.
Cause okay, so like, I mean, we could like post it like on the video and stuff, but like, this is crazy. It's like a epic
Yeah.
battle or like scene or like So like, can you like tell us about the specific symbolism and like stuff that's going on in
Sure.
this, if you don't mind?
No problem. I think you can see there are two parts. If you divided my painting into two parts, one would be this kind of, if you went to Metropolitan Museum, you see those big Chinese scroll painting. Like you're reading a scroll. So it's almost like reading a comic book. You flip the page. However, in Chinese scroll, you are constantly looking, just keep going, searching for everything. So you will see the main character in the same picture, but they go on their journey, so you have a whole glimpse. It's like an omnipotent view of the world.
Wow.
So I just adopt that as part of my storytelling technique, using that, and combine with actually the Monkey King story. So if you have a little bit idea, it's about a monk who has to come from east to the west to get the essence of Buddha. So I was adopting that, since I'm from Taiwan, we usually refer Asia as East. So from east to the west. So you will see the Monkey King and the Sandman, and also the pig. So three of them are the disciple of the monk. So they have to accompany the monk all the way to the west. So it's almost like resemble what I have when I decided to come to USA to study.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
So you could.
there's so much that's like going on.
So
Yeah.
I always tell my viewers that if you look at that image in the first glance and you squint your eyes, you see on the right side, it's not very happy.
So like with this mural, like so like when you're like making murals, like it's obviously like what is the process of like making a mural? Because it's like on a huge open canvas.
Yes.
That could be like what 15, 20 feet high. Big sometimes.
Bigger than you.
And obviously. But like, so what was the process of like making this specific mural? Because it seems like it's like the most involved, the most difficult of.
It just
of
seems
the
like
ones
a
that you've
daunting
made.
task to open.
Yeah, but actually, it's since you connected with your personal emotional stories, you are very into it. You are almost try to make sense. It's all about making sense with your life. So what I did is simply, a lot of people when they paint murals, they have to plan it in order to know what's exactly there.
Right.
But if you look at that specific series, My Journey to the West series, everything is growing. So I would start from a little corner that I know he has to be in the part of my life during that period. So if you look at there's several, My Journey to the, I think I painted 3 so far. So for the very first one you saw, it's my life between 2010 to 13. And obviously that's what's happening after I came from Taiwan to study. So everything, I try to put it into one.
Yeah.
So it's growing. So it's not really like you have to plan it out all the way through. But it's,
Right.
after you paint this section, you figure out that section, you keep going on.
So, like, did you paint everything by yourself, or did you get help? Like,
Yes, yeah, people ask me a lot about that. Yeah, everything's just by myself. Yeah.
That's
like,
insane.
That's insane.
But actually, it's like you do what you do.
Yeah.
You love what you do, and
Right.
you really immerse.
I want to
into
see it again. Do you mind just pulling it up? Yeah, like,
It
how
almost
long
felt
did it
like-
take you?
yeah.
Yeah, like, how long does it, yeah, so, like, how long did, like, this one, it might be, like, the third one in, like, the Journey to the West series, but,
Yeah.
like, how long did, like, this one take you to, like, complete?
Actually, each one is different scale and on different. So the very first one, that Statue of Liberty one, actually it's on paper. It's not
Oh,
really a
oh,
mural. So if
oh,
you
okay,
click
okay.
out to it, you will see there is a grand view of the exhibition view of two paintings.
Oh, okay.
So that one you can see there. Those two are paintings.
Yeah.
But eventually, because they're big, so I thought why not like approaching like mural. So it becomes more like people will
Yeah.
hire me out as a mural artist. So if
Yeah.
you see the Union Street, the Flushing
Oh, there
one,
it is. Okay.
yeah, that Flushing one will be exactly on the mural. That's
Okay.
much larger. It's like
Yeah.
10 by 30
Wow.
feet.
But this is still a pretty big piece of paper, regardless.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's still nothing to like scoff at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
So each
yeah.
one, yeah, if you ask me how long did it take, I think the paper one, it takes even longer because
Yeah.
paper you can go into so details. I think that one I used 2 months.
2 months. Okay. Yeah. It seems like it.
Wow.
2
like
or
at
3
least,
months.
Yeah. Go to this. Oh yeah. So Journey to the West 3. Like,
Yeah,
Playground.
That's the one.
That's
is
the
that one
most
in
recent
Flushing?
one.
Okay,
yeah.
that's most
That was
recent.
also on canvas.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but all the others are public space.
Oh, okay, I see.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Yeah. So, like, let's talk specifically because obviously, like, a lot of your artwork deals with like your like own experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how and why you came to like America. Like, yeah. So, like, why did you first choose to like study art in America, and why? Yeah. So, why did you choose to study art
Sure.
in America?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, it's really about how you can really get the proper training in art in Taiwan. If you don't study art as a art class, like you're enrolled in art school since junior or high school, it's not easy for you to get enrolled in the college level because the way the examination system was set. So it's just nature that I study English literature in Taiwan actually. And it's so different and difficult. I still wanted to paint. I wanted to learn how to paint, but just don't have the opportunity to break in. So it becomes nature that if I have the opportunity to pursue this in America, my parents at the time, they are supportive. And they just said that if you want to do it, you try to apply for it. If you got in, you go. Yeah.
What are your plans for next year?
Next year, so far it's all teaching, and I'm applying to residencies.
Oh,
so,
wow.
so it's like every year is if you live the life I live, you would have a kind of like a seasonal goals or seasonal challenge that you know it's gonna happen. It's like right now, if you ask me now for the next 3 months, it's all about teaching. It's like when the school starts, the reopens, and the high school, the senior center, or garden, the educational program in the garden, or Queen's Museum and all that, it's floating to you like you have to take and choose. But if you ask me next year, and I would say I would, every year after, it's all about you sending application, you getting grant, and you find out what your next proposal or project would be.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, let's like talk more about. So like, why did you choose to come to New York City? Like, kind of like after deciding to come
I
to
see.
America.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like first moving to New York City? Like, what was your first year like coming to New York City?
Sure. I
Or
think
living in New York City.
Yeah, I think there are two main reasons, and obviously at the time I was coming for computer art, and there are two. It's pretty divided. They're very good. Obviously, there's a lot of great college offering very good 3D animation program in the Middle West or Middle East, but Midwest or Middle East. But on the both end of the coastal, obviously the Los Angeles and where the whole Hollywood is.
Ooh.
And we're all independent spirit in the
Yeah.
East. So it's like a collapse of two titans. So it's very nature, even though I'm not that into art at that time. I'm still learning, but I know that if you need to go and find a job after college, if you don't go to Japan to study with Hayao Miyazaki, you better stay with this too. And I actually applied for both. But
Okay.
out of the 9 college I applied, I only got into New York.
Wow, really? It was-
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
That was the
It's
best
actually my
choice you
first
could have ever
choice.
made.
Yeah, it's actually my first choice. But the second reason, kind of interesting, or you would say innocent, but just that at the time that there is a very famous pitcher from Taiwan, Chemin Hsiao. He's pitching for Yankees.
Oh, interesting.
So
yeah.
he at the time he's the ace for Yankees for
Right.
3 straight years.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's so sad that right after I landed, if you look at that Journey to the West picture, he's always in it. Every single one, every single one. You will see he was. Yeah, I think he got hurt right after I
Oh,
came.
man.
How do you feel like New York City has changed you?
Oh, it's brutal. Yeah, it's very brutal. It's like I always remember the first few days I'm here. It's like you see the homeless and feel struggle, and you look at the bread and just a little bread, and it costs so much money.
Yeah.
But right now I get used to it. But at the time, you imagine I came
Culture
from
shock.
Culture shock, yes, totally. Yeah.
Wait, I don't feel. I mean, I guess good bread is like expensive, but like the cheap Wonder Bread
Yeah.
can't be that much.
It-
but, like,
yeah. I remember, the first day, because I think I live around the YMCA. I came with my mom, and so I live in YMCA around Trump Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
just the YMCA,
Yeah.
and obviously around is the Columbus Circle,
yeah.
and you have the Whole Food. So
Yeah.
expensive. So
Way too
expensive.
expensive. Way too expensive.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Like, what do you want to leave with?
Thank you for inviting me, and my journey will continue as long as I can make use of my time in New York.
Well, we'll definitely be following you and your work as long as you make it, because it really is fascinating.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
for-
so much.
Yeah, you can find Chemin Hsiao at cheminart.com or Chemin Hsiao Art on Instagram. That's CheminHsiao Art.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.